What's going on, guys? AJT BLS here, coming to you with coverage of Woawa and 10-ply. So in the previous video, we covered 10-ply versus Spare, where 10-ply won the match. That being said, I think that was a good game overall. I think Spare played exceptionally well, just wasn't dealt the cards to win, and I think that 10-ply played an okay game, about average. Average to good. And let's just talk about the player pool. So Woawa has been in the dueling discords or Yu-Gi-Oh discords for a long time and is also a moderator in Format Library. Haven't played much against Woawa. Not very active in terms of dueling at this current time. Not as much as 10-ply. So I would actually give the edge to 10-ply in this match just because of how like a recency bias that they've been playing a lot and they've had a lot of tops. In the prior Obelisk tournament on the Academy League, 10-ply finished second. So 10-ply is very strong. And so is Woawa, but I just think in terms of recency, I would say that 10-ply is probably favored to win this match. That being said, we know what decks they're on, and Woawa's on like a turbo deck, standard deck, and 10-ply is on the Warrior Flip deck. To see their decks, look at the first video related to the ACS, and there's like all the decks from the top 4. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so we do the rock, paper, scissors. 10-ply wins. When you're playing Warriors, it's really good to go first because you can kind of dominate the spell trap zone if your hand lets you. And let's see what happens. This is probably a average hand. A lot of monsters, no solemn. The only really good thing about this hand is that you have duo. So here I would like to see duo being used and then just setting Magician of Faith. And let's see what happens. Okay. And see what happens with the die roll. So here, if I'm Woawa, I will pitch either the Sork or the Dekoichi. Chooses to pitch the Dekoichi. I think that's fine because you have Graceful Charity, so you can have an active Sork. Very likely that your Graceful or your next draw draws into a light, so that's a good play. And I'd like to see 10-ply set Magician. Good. Here, I think, unfortunately, like you can't afford to wait. You have to slam the Charity. If you're Woawa, you're very far behind. And at this point in the tournament, you know that 10-ply is not only on Warriors, but Warrior flips. So if you wait and you get do it again, you're just going to lose. So I agree with rifling Charity here. All right. So now it's like decision time for Woawa, like what to discard. I think that Spy is an important card to keep against Warriors. So I would like to see him keep at least the Spy and the Sork, and maybe set Magician. And so that means I think he should be pitching like the Kaiku and the Geki, but I'm not sure. This could go either way. Okay, so he chooses to pitch the Magician. That seems okay. It gives you your light dark, but I would like to see then Sork come out now. Nope. Alright, so do you bring out the Sork now? Like, you're just gonna lose your hand, right? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Alright, so that's fine by me. That's smart. A lot of ways that he could have played it. He could have chose to set, but again, setting against Warriors isn't the best, and this is a good play nonetheless. No mistakes from either player yet. So now 10-ply is in a decision where he needs to decide if he's going to duel for 1, and I don't think dueling for 1 it would accomplish much. If I'm 10-ply here, I might just set DD Warrior Lady and set maybe the duo as a bluff. I think that's probably your best play. Okay, choosing to duel for 1, I wouldn't do it, but you can't fault that. This is too aggressive. Like, by doing this, you're kind of just throwing away your throwing away like your lady because it's very unlikely that this goes through. I guess best case scenario that this is a set bluff or it's a Book of Moon, but I think setting the lady might be a little bit better because you have no, like, you're working on getting a dark for your BLS and you have no protection to damage. So let's see. Draws the Faith. Nice pull. Ooh, choosing to swing with both. All right. I guess he's just like, okay, if you got Mirror Force, you got Mirror Force, and I'll just probably lose the game. But he's risking it for the biscuit, and I don't mind it. And like Woawa's probably thinking like, okay, I started off so behind. I got duoed 2 times. If I can get this attack through, I'm just like taking my position of being a slight favorite because of the board presence, a slight favorite to just like a massive fave. So he's basically saying, I will win this game as long as this card is in Mirror Force. And guess what? It's not. So Woawa made a good read there. Again, I don't have any complaints with any of the plays so far, except with maybe with 10-ply setting the lady. And setting the Faith is fine. Wow. So like all the options here are pretty bad because that Kaiku being around banished your 2 lights, so you can't even like search, and the Kaiku will prevent you bringing out the BLS. I think your only play here, as crazy as this sounds, is you have to Rhoda for Exiled, and then do it and use Exiled again. Yep. Yep. Desperate Times. So like 10-ply's up in cards, but this is what happens with Warriors when you do brick. It's awful because these Blade Knights are stuck at 1,600 apiece. No way for them to get to 2,000 one by one. And your life points are just so low because of the abuse you've took from last turn. So nothing really 10-ply could do this turn except the play I described. And that's... So yeah, obviously he just drew for game. No need to slow roll, flip it, and do whatever. Drawing the dragon is game, and that's it. All right, so 10-ply going first here. Ooh, sides in a Cyberstein. So Cyberstein against Turbo, like you're making King Dragoon, because Turbo has a hard time outing it. You got Snatch again. There must have been an earlier game or something where they played in the past and this worked out and they got Snatch. And King Dragoon comes down. Seemed a little early for King Dragoon. Like it is expensive for life points and you don't have a Solemn to back it up. But you do have Book, so Pot comes through. So he's setting this, and he's choosing not to set the Magician because he is trying to bait out Knock, which seems good. This is a nice play. If I'm Woawa, I actually would prefer him just to set his entire hand because you have that Solemn to play around getting duoed. But let's see. And if you're 10-ply, standard. And do you be greedy and summon the Kaiku? That's what's running through his head right now. I don't think you do. I know that this is a bluff, or not a bluff, but like a neg 1 that can't target Dragoon. So I think that you just swing for 2,400 or 3,100. I think summoning and running into TT would just make sure you lose the game. That'd be my play. I would just swing. All right, so he chooses to summon. If this was Torrential Tribute, they would just instantly lose, probably. But it's not, so... And if that's Mirror Force, you also would lose. I guess we're just playing Fearless. And taking all the damage seems good. Set the heavy too, you might as well. Actually, no. Keeping the heavy in hand, I correct that. Because you're choosing to keep heavy in hand because you're probably never going to use it. And if you get duoed, you can just pitch one of these to get you your light dark. So like if this goes to the grave, you'll just pitch the BLS and you'll have an active Sork. And I know you still need to deal with the Kaiku, but that's fine. So that's fine keeping this in hand. That's correct. Now, let's see if 10 ply has any fear of that board. And still has no fear for... still has no fear for Torrential Tribute or Mirror Force. And yeah, has to use Geki Break there. Can't let these new back rows die and can't afford to use Solemn. Alright, so swing with King Dragoon, that's good. Take pot, good. And now this has to be dealt with, that's right. I would pitch heavy. Good. Nice. And let's take the 700. And yeah, that has to get met with Solemn. Alright, so it's like showtime now. We have an active BLS, and we have a Pot of Greed, and a Knight Assailant. So this could, like, it depends how Woawa wants to play this, but they actually could have, like, it depends what we draw off pot. Let's just see what we draw off pot first. I was thinking, like, do you pass priority, but I don't know. Let's see what you choose to do. Now that you draw Serp, I think that you prio. No, you got to you have to kill this. You have no choice because you can't target the Dragoon with the effect. I was thinking, like, do you just prio banish the Stein? But I don't think that's enough at this point of the game. I think you have to try to kill. All right. This is aggressive and risky. That is game. This can't be targeted. So I think trying to go all in for game was too much. Yeah, that's the only play they have. Have to target their own Serp. Sucks you have to do that. This will get met with Book again. Set the Sangan. Cool. Another Stein. That's dead. King Dragoon killing the Sangan seems good. And I would set the Stein as well. Nice. Kill, and I think you kill the Kaiku. Cool. Set the Spy, and set the duel. Awesome. Yeah, nothing really 10 ply can do. So now if you're Woawa, you're kind of debating whether you just go all in or you just banish things. And this is kind of like a soul read. Looking at the graveyard here, we have 2 books down. We're not sure if 10 ply plays TT, and we know that he doesn't from the deck videos. So if you're Woawa, you're deciding, like, okay, is this Mirror Force or not? That's the only thing that you're really scared of because you don't think that he plays, or he could play Sakuretsu, but you probably have been scouting up to this point and have not seen one single Sakuretsu in his deck. So the only thing to protect that he has for protection left is the 3rd book. If you're Woawa, you probably would know this at this stage of the tournament, just from previous spectating, which is common. Look, you have 5 spectators here, common theme. So I think if you're Woawa here, you could probably just comfortably go for game here, because I would go for game. If that's Mirror Force, it's Mirror Force. It's 1 out. It's 1 out of 30 chance that that's what they drew. So let's see what Woawa chooses to do. And no, Conservative chooses to keep this face down. That seems okay. I guess you're in no rush. Only thing that would suck if they draw Snatch. And no choice but to set heavy. And this is going to be game. I would like to see this MST come down on the new, because this could be Mirror Force, right? We didn't test this. This has been tested and proven not to be Mirror Force. So no use to holding the MST. And Woawa wins. I don't even know if that's necessarily a misplay. I think that 10 ply might have brought out the Cyberstein a little too early for the King Dragoon, because Cyberstein in its nature is really expensive at 5k. But also, it's really unfortunate that he didn't draw any Solemns, because 10 ply is thinking, like, okay, I don't really give a shit about life points anyways, because I have 3 Solemns in my deck, and those cost life points. So what's the difference if I pay 4,000 early or I pay 1,500? Like, I'm still going to be low on life points the majority of the duel eventually if I draw Solemns. So I understand the logic behind an early Dragoon. Turbo does extremely struggle with Dragoon, especially if there's a Kaiku on the board, so they can't bring out the BLS and ram it. So I'm not going to fault 10 ply at all in the second duel. First duel, kind of like minor mistakes. I think Woawa played near perfect. I might actually, he is, in terms of like the rankings, because I said I was going to start doing that from like a 1 to 10 scale. Not that my rankings necessarily mean anything. I'm not saying I'm the best player, but I think a ranking system is cool. I'm going to give 10 ply, even though they lost the duel. In the previous video, I gave him a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10 in this one. And Woawa, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. I would give a 10, but I really dislike not using the MST here on this new card, because Mirror Force is still extremely live. Another Book of Moon is live and known at this stage of the tournament, so there's no reason to hold on to this MST. Just absolutely none. You've already tested this middle card, so it worked out for him that it wasn't a Mirror Force, but the only reason he's not getting a 10 out of 10 is not using this MST, because that's how big of a deal I think it is. It is possible, and it really, that card could have been Mirror Force, and that would have switched the whole game. Like, you're still going to be in a massive position of favoritism, like to win the game. You're still going to be a massive favorite, but holding this MST just has zero value at all. So yeah, good games by both. And now for the next video, we are going to cover the finals, where it is Dino versus Woawa. All right, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.